Not my number. Like, you were gonna call me back.
This is way close this time. I know they say not to move this, but this is really close to.
All right, being 7:01, I'd like to call the order this June 25th, 18, EOS meeting. And please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. First, one announcement, Chelmsford Telemedia is broadcasting this meeting live and taping for later viewing. Are there any additional members of the press here tonight? Seeing none. We have a joint meeting tonight with the planning board. Does the chairman want to come up? Mike?
Well, nothing particular to say, except I'm glad to be here. And we have our candidate for our, not eighth position, our alternate position. And I presume he's here.
He's behind you.
Would you like to get up and introduce yourself to us? I think he just did.
Well, he stole his thunder.
All right,
Good evening, my name's Henry Hool.
You had a
Pardon?
long resume.
No, it was an old one. I apologize. I never even updated. It was a last minute thing for.
You've been involved with a lot of things in the town.
Yeah, I mean, in a certain capacity. So my name's Henry Hool. I live at 1 Pearson Street. I've been a resident of Chelmsford for 50 years. And I just want to thank everybody for the opportunity to consider me for the associate member of the planning board. You know, I just want to let you know, you might all know me as Hank. I've been on the fire department 28 years. I serve as a Unit 1 line captain. I'm also the fire investigation fire investigator for the town of Chelmsford. How's that? And I'm a little nervous, so you're sure you can tell. I'm seeking this position because I've been on the fire department 29 years, like I stated, and I'm retiring in 2 weeks. And I still want to give back to the community. I saw this opening and I figured I'd go for it. If you want to know anything about my personal life, I have I don't know what you want from me, you know,
No,
information.
just your professional.
Nothing bad. But I want to thank you for the opportunity for considering me, and I appreciate a vote.
All right, do any of the board members have any questions? Henry, do you prefer Henry, Hank?
I'm used to Hank. The older I get, Henry sounds better, but Hank stuck. So.
Anyone have any questions? Well, seeing there are none, I think we have to take a roll call.
First, we need a motion.
We technically need to open our meeting.
All right,
We'll open it. Planning board meeting of June 25th.
6 months of Christmas.
Would you like to
Just call him.
offer a motion?
all right, does anyone have a motion?
I make a motion to accept,
Nominate.
As-
The nominate, well,
Nomination, just saying nomination.
to nominate Hank as the alternate planning board member.
second.
All right,
All in favor?
we have to do it as a roll call, I think? We have to do it as a roll call. So you want to go first, Mike, and across the
Yeah.
board?
What's it?
You have to accept it.
No, you don't have to close it. I vote aye.
No big deal.
Mike Raisbeck.
Ed Rue votes for Hank.
Blaine Cole votes for Hank.
Tim Shanahan votes for Hank.
Oh, man, both for dinner.
So we have a race between Hank and Henry.
Yeah. Usually my wife's mad at me, she calls me Henry.
George?
I vote for Hank Hool.
I also vote for Hank.
I vote for Hank.
And I vote for Hank. So seeing it's unanimous, congratulations.
Thank you,
I know you do a great job.
thank you, and I
Try to
will.
keep them on their toes.
I'll be right there every meeting. Don't hold me to that.
Just don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thanks a lot.
Mike, would you like to close your meeting?
Yes,
Motion to close the planning board.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
That's it.
Thank
Folks,
you.
it's all yours.
Thank you.
Welcome to it. I've been studying up a lot.
We have a number of public service announcements tonight. First of all, we have a proclamation concerning the Paul Center. Is anyone here tonight representing the Paul Center? Would you like to come up?
Michelle.
It's Michelle, isn't it?
Michelle Saba.
Can you
I'm-
just talk a little bit about what the Paul Center is for anyone who
Sure.
might
I
be
think
watching who
probably
doesn't
most
know?
everybody in the room knows the Paul Center for Learning and Recreation. We're located right here in Chelmsford out on Concord Road. We're a nonprofit organization that provides programs for children and young adults with disabilities. This year we celebrate 50 years serving Greater Lowell and the Merrimack Valley, southern New Hampshire, and lots of communities, including Chelmsford providing an extended school year program. We also provide a number of social and recreational programs through the year.
Thank you. Would you like to read the proclamation, Emily?
I would be happy to. The Town of Chelmsford proclamation in recognition of the Paul Center for Learning and Recreation. Whereas Camp Paul began through the efforts of its first director, Lowell school teacher Ernest Herman, dedicated parents such as Anna St. Germain, whose son has special needs, and other professionals and concerned citizens whose dream was to provide opportunities for disabled students that their non-disabled peers experience. And whereas Ray Paul provided a portion of his Chelmsford farmland on Boston Road and Mill Pond for the camp beginning in 1968, initially the camp buildings were army tents from Fort Devens, above-ground swimming pool, and an office first aid station built by Neshoba Tech High School students. And whereas in 1979, 4 board members and their spouses used their own property as collateral while funds were raised to purchase the present 16-plus acre site on Concord Road. And today the site has more than 20 buildings, basketball and volley playing fields, 2 playgrounds, an in-ground swimming pool designed for the special needs population, 10 acres of woodland, 2 fishing ponds, a stream, 1.5 miles of wheelchair trails, making the natural beauty of the area accessible to all. And whereas in 1995 the name was changed for Camp Paul for Exceptional Children to the Paul Center for Learning and Recreation to more adequately reflect the year-round services being provided. And whereas the Paul Center is dedicated to assisting individuals with disabilities in developing their maximum potential and independence by providing services to the individual as well as the family, and serves many Chelmsford children, as well as children from the greater Lowell Merrimack Valley area, including 60 Massachusetts and New Hampshire communities. Now, therefore, we, the Chelmsford Board of Selectmen, pay tribute to the Paul Center as it celebrates 50 years of providing its vital service to this very special population.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Would you like to?
Just say who signed it. No?
Yes.
Yes.
Would you like to get a proclamation?
Sure. This is Jack. He's my son. He's also a program participant at the Paul Center. And he knows George, so we'll let George give the proclamation to Jack. Go see George.
Say hello to all of you. Thank you, Michelle.
Congratulations.
Hi. Thank you.
Nice job, Jack.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Secondly, we have, do we have someone from the Chelmsford Farmers Market here tonight?
Hello. I'm Claudia DeLucia. I'm on the committee for the Chelmsford Farmers Market. It is every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It started 2 weeks ago, and it runs to September 15th. Whether you know or not, on last year and prior to this, it was on Thursday afternoon and Thursday evening. The people who were that committee had decided they didn't want to do it anymore. And we didn't have anyone to take it on. And at the last minute, Valerie Findemeyer, who's new to the community, she and her mother have moved here from Ohio, and Valerie has 2 small kids and a husband. She took it on, and she has done an amazing job. Our first week was 2 weeks ago. We had 17 vendors. We were pretty close to putting it aside for a year because we started so late, we had a hard time getting vendors. And what we were really struggling with is we had no produce vendors. We thought we can't have a farmer's market without produce vendors. And we did, at the last minute, get 2 produce vendors who have committed for the full season. And the first week, we did really well. There was a great crowd. The weather was not so hot on Saturday, so things weren't, it was, the population was a little low, but it's doing very well. There's some great vendors there. We're trying very hard to make this a focus with children and education and agriculture. So every week there's going to be a kids' activity. This week we're going to make stamps out of vegetables, and we're going to stamp a tablecloth with the kids that we're going to use for our booth for the full season. And like I said, every week there'll be a different kids' activity. So, and they're all free. Nobody has to pay for anything. We had face painting, and we're going to be doing snow globes, that kind of thing. So, and none of that costs the kids anything. They just come and we have it all set up for them. So we're also still looking for because we're focusing with kids, we're looking for some young adult or youth business people. If they're selling crafts, anything like that, we're still looking for that population. And they wouldn't have to pay a fee for their booth like the other vendors would. So if anyone knows anyone that would be interested in that and getting their business started, we'd be happy to help them do that. So like I said, it's every Saturday, 10 to 2. And we've had some great vendors already. There's a Greek baker that does the most great spanakopita and baklava. And the produce vendors have been really outstanding. And of course, what they bring every week changes as the season changes. So, do you have any questions or?
Just that I was over there Saturday and I bought vegetables. They didn't make it through Sunday. I gobbled them up.
Well, good. That's the idea. That's the
Should've spent
idea.
more money.
Yeah. So we're very pleased. Apparently there's a new mushroom business person in town, and they had signed up to come every single week, but their demand has exceeded their what they have on hand, so they haven't been able to come yet. So I'm very happy for them, but we're really looking forward to when they do have enough and they
What's their
can
name?
come.
Is it Fat Moon Farms or is it someone else?
I'm sorry?
Fat Moon Farms?
That does not sound familiar, but Valerie has all of that information, so we're really looking forward to them coming. So,
Well, thank you.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate your efforts.
thanks.
Good luck.
Then we have, I think, Bill's here from Friendship Park tonight.
You missed John Osborne from the 4th of July committee, parade committee.
It's not on your list. It's right here. See?
There was another one. Got it.
Can't miss that.
All right, first we'll have John Osborne from the parade committee.
How could you forget me? You don't even know me, but how could you forget me?
All in training.
Yeah. I'm John Osborne from the Chelmsford Parade Committee. I'm chairman this year. I took over for Lynn Marcella, Jeff Hardy, Brian Reedy, and Jim Cullen, the 4 of them. We have others, myself, my wife Kathy is the treasurer, Sharon Smith, who used to work at the town. I think she's part of the water department now, is also on the head committee. And we have about 13 other members on the committee. So, as you know, the parade is July 4th, Wednesday, starting at 10 a.m. I hope you will all march, as you normally do. And if you have any special requests, just let me know and I will make sure I can get that satisfied for you. If you need like a golf cart, because if it's too hot, or if you need water, extra water, we can make sure of that. So I'm mainly here to announce our parade marshal this year is going to be Fred Merriam out of the Chelmsford Historical Society. As you know, he was awarded the Guardian Award just this past May. And normally that award is bestowed upon an organization dedicated to preserving Chelmsford history, and it's not usually given to a member of the board. But from all the work that Fred has been doing this year and over the past years, they decided to waive their bylaws this year, and it was a unanimous decision to accept him as the award for the Guardian. So what he did, he said, I just wrote down a few notes. He set up the archival system in there. He organized the inventory of all the artifacts within the society. He wrote 2 books, Images of America, the Chelmsford Revisited, and then he did North and West Chelmsford book. He actually works on the Historical Commission also, which I'm probably sure you're aware of. And in 2009, he served on the Town Utilization Committee for the Town Hall, which then changed the old Town Hall here to the Chelmsford Center for the Arts, and then the North Town Hall, where I live, to the Chelmsford Community Center, which really makes a big, nice statement coming into Vinyl Square there. So right now, he's currently scanning all the yearbooks in from 1925 to 2017. So if people lose their yearbooks, they can find them online and go back that far. So we all thought it was a great choice to nominate him as the parade marshal this year, and he has gladly accepted. He and his wife will be in the parade, one of the first cars coming down. I guess it's a blue Cadillac convertible. So we have a really good parade coming on. Right now, we have 84 confirmed acts, consisting of over 1,000 people now. And there's probably, because the 3rd district is the election year for the 3rd district congressional, right now I currently have 6 confirmed politicians with their crew marching in it. And there's a gentleman named Dan Frederick out of Emerson College who is getting his thesis, getting his master's. So his thesis is he's been following these politicians around. So he is doing a documentary on the politicians, and he's going to put the parade in there too and advertise the parade in the town of Chelmsford. So I think it will look good because all the banners, we hung all the banners and the flags around town. It looks really nice now. So we just keep our fingers crossed for a good day.
The long-range forecast is very, very hot.
I'll take the hot. I don't mind the hot. It's the rain. It's like, don't rain on my parade. This is my first year, and I have tough shoes to follow. Following Lynn and the group there that from CBA that ran it. They've done a phenomenal job over the past 10 years. So.
And usually we don't have any problem with water because the little kids are taking care of that.
So I don't know. Any questions or anything?
Paul, do you know if there are any restrictions on putting the chairs out early?
Yeah, again, they'd asked that they not go out before Monday because part of the whole work is the preparation, from the mowing and preparing the site. And also, it also sometimes creates difficulty for those who want to walk along the sidewalks as well. So again, if people could hold off until Monday, I think there'll still be ample room for Wednesday's parade.
Yeah, and we've placed that on our webpage and on our social media, Facebook, and on Twitter accounts too. Not to put them out too early because it impedes the residents' access of the sidewalks.
I think you made a great choice as Fred Merriam, I think.
Yeah.
It's a great choice.
Yeah, that was I can't take credit. Lynn Marcella came up with that, came to the rescue again. She really is, she's Citizen of the Year this year. The Elks is nominating her as Citizen of the Year, so she'll be in the parade too. And then she's also announcing the parade, so I know everyone's familiar with Lynn, so she's done a great service for the town.
Well, I'm sure we're going to have a great turnout, and thank you for all your efforts.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck. Thanks.
Take care.
Now we have Friendship Park. I want to be there.
I'm looking forward to it. Bill Askenberg, Chair of the Roberts Field Advisory Committee and Chair of the Friends of Roberts Field. I'm happy to stand here before you and invite you all to our grand opening for Friendship Park next Saturday, June 30th at 10 a.m. We'll have a short ceremony, ribbon cutting ceremony, and then it'll be a free-for-all for the playground. So the town, the DPW has been working really hard, super hard over the last few weeks, out there every day getting the equipment in the ground, getting the surfaces ready, and it's really taken shape. We're not going to be 100% finished when we do open. We're going to have other stuff that we're going to continue to work on. In July and August, we're going to get the fencing up. And then into September, we're going to work on the natural play area. So it's going to continue to improve through the end of the year. But I'm really excited to see what you guys think about it. It's really going to be a very special place. So.
Do you know anything about if it's an overflow crowd, which I expect, where people would normally park if the lot, I expect the lot to be full?
Yeah, I don't know. That's something I can look into with the Chelmsford Police Department. I can ask them to see.
Maybe you could post it somewhere so
Yeah,
that people
it's a
would be
good
aware of
idea.
that.
We'll do that. So.
Anyone have any questions?
All right. If you guys want to come by a little early, you can come by, and somebody will be out there. We'll give you a quick tour too, just to let you get the lay of the land on which slides you want to be sure that you get on first. So.
Just one matter, as Bill spoke about, the efforts go on beyond the opening and into the next several months and so forth, and Bill is seeking a liaison from the Board of Selectmen to the parade committee, so, I'm sorry, to the Friendship Park
They can have one
committee.
too.
No, the Friendship Park committee, so again, I wanted to remind the board of that, and Bill's request is, you remember, Laura was the liaison, and now, Laura stepped down from the board, so.
And we have quite a number of improvements that are planned that were part of the master plan document presentation that we made to you, and we feel like we'll be able to implement those. We'll probably have we'll have some cooperation with the state on those. So having a liaison with the committee would be a big help to us, I think. So anything you guys could do with that would be great. So any questions or anything about? No? Well, I hope to see you all there Saturday, and I hope folks that are watching at home will join us too. Thank you.
Good luck. All right, we have an announcement concerning the deadline for submission of citizen petitions. Anyone from the town here tonight to speak?
Yeah, we just remind folks that under the provisions of our bylaw, the first Monday in August is the deadline for the submission of citizen petition warrant articles for the fall annual town meeting, and that's obviously, this year it's Monday, August 6th. So again, if anyone needs assistance in preparing the petitions, they can contact my office or the clerk's office, and we'll assist them through that process so that the articles that are petitioned are in proper legal form and can be considered by town meeting. And so we'll repeat this announcement at our July meeting as well. Thank you.
Now, I just caution everyone that it's kind of an arduous process, and you should start as early as possible. We generally take the warrant article, and it starts on the official list, but there's certain documentation that has to be met by the end, and if not, it falls by the wayside. So we would hope that anyone who wants to get on it starts early. We have a design public hearing on 129 River Neck Road.
Yeah, just to want to inform the community that this Thursday evening at 7 p.m. in the room next door here, room 205, the Massachusetts Department of Transportation will be holding a public hearing regarding the design for the improvements at the intersection of Billerica Road and River Neck Road. Again, that'll be 7 p.m. this evening in room 205. There are plans available to be viewed, and obviously their comments and input is welcome at that time. And again, if they have any more detailed questions, they can obviously contact the town manager's office or the DPW office, where the town's engineers are obviously following this project. It's a significant project on the state's transportation plan.
Is there just a general idea? What
The
it
idea
will
is to make it
involve?
a T intersection as opposed to what's there today.
A big
And that-
Y?
Exactly, and that would make it a lot safer and improve traffic flow in that area.
I notice it also does include a lot of accommodation for bicycle lanes
Yes,
and
yeah.
sidewalks and
Mhm.
everything else, so.
Yeah,
it's
as part of our complete
huge,
streets
yeah.
efforts, yeah.
Huge
It's
improvement.
been in process for quite a long
Couple
time,
years,
hasn't
yeah.
it?
It's been on the tip process, and now we're at the design stage, and hopefully, next year it'll be out for construction.
Great. We have now open session. Anyone who'd like to speak on any topic that would like to address the board, they're invited up. Anyone here tonight? Just state your name, address.
Thank you. My name is John Shemley, resident of Chelmsford for 25 years, and my family has been in the town of Chelmsford for close to 60 or 70 years. I forget exactly. My wife's family, the Kresneckis. I live at number 2 Douglas Road, and I'm here really in two capacities, as a resident of the town of Chelmsford and also as a business owner here in the town. As a resident, I'm understanding that we are talking about in contemplating an ambulance study committee over the next few months or few years, whatever it might be. And I'm here to just say as a resident and a taxpayer that before we get into and are concerned about what it is we don't have, I'm inviting you all as a board and as the police and fire chief as well, who I wish were here tonight, I'm inviting you to come down to see what you do have. That's my business hat. We have a public-private partnership here that is second to none. We have technology that is out of this world. We have training centers. We have resources. We have all kinds of stuff that I really would like you to see and to hear about and firsthand touch what we have offered the town of Chelmsford for over the past 24 years. So my real concern tonight is I'm asking for a delay. I'm not asking for you to get rid of the whole thing, or I know you're contemplating it, and I appreciate that. But I'm asking for a delay until we educate ourselves a little more as to what it is that you want and what you have, rather than what you don't have. Ironically, our public-private partnership is huge in today's opioid crisis. We have introduced into Chelmsford the First Watch program that both the police and fire chiefs are very, very in tune with. And it's a deadly thing that's happening here, and we are at the forefront of that. Additionally, there are so many other things that we're doing that I'd love you to come to see. Ironically, as I hear all the proclamations that are happening tonight, I sat on the board of the Paul Center for 10 years. I was chairman with my wife of the parade committee for the 350th year several years ago, and we were also chair of the parade committee for several other things. I also did talk to Bill Askenberg about another proclamation. Another thing that you mentioned tonight was the Roberts Field playground. We are also sponsoring that as well. So our public and our private partnership that we have here is second really to none in any other state. So I'm asking, is there any way we can just delay this? And I'm inviting everybody down to the Trinity office and to Trinity, see our dispatch center, see our technology, see our training center. And I want to, revenue isn't exactly everything when it comes to the ambulance business. Last week at the State House, there was a bill that was going to be signed that was going to cut the ambulance reimbursements by 66%. It was called the healthcare cost containment bill. Through the Mass Ambulance Association, which I am the chairman of the board, through the Mass Ambulance Association, and among other associations, including the Mass Municipal and others as well, we killed that bill. If a town or city had got into the ambulance business and that bill was passed, it would have been a devastating thing to their reimbursement. I accept that liability. You would not have to accept that liability. I take on that. My point is, there's so many things we need to learn about over the next few weeks before we jump into this thing. And I'm just asking that we stop this freight train that's rolling down the tracks for the time being. And I'd love to educate everybody as to what it is that we're trying to do here. That's what I'm asking. That's my comments.
Anyone have any questions, John, tonight?
Okay,
I
thank
have
you.
one.
Yes.
I have a couple. Would you prefer that we come as a group?
Yes.
Or individually? Do you have a preference?
I prefer you come as a group. Do I have a preference? No, whatever you all would like.
And if we did come as a group, is there a best time of day to do that?
Whatever
Or
you
day
say.
of the
I
week?
will make myself available. I will make my management team available. And whatever time of day is good for anybody that wants to come.
Glenn, the only thing I would caution about that, if we went as a group, it should be
Open
posted
meeting.
as a meeting.
Okay,
So I would almost prefer that we do it individually.
individually?
That would be my preference, quite frankly.
All right, and probably everyone has different schedules as well.
I think so.
So I would say that all or most of us or some of us will definitely come. I can say I will. We'll do it individually so that we don't have any open meeting conflicts. As far as the timetable, I'm not sure. We have a lot of discussion here about it, and nothing happens in the public arena very quickly. So,
Yeah, I know, but with all due respect, Mr. Chairman, as you know, I'm building a new base right in Chelmsford Center, right behind the St. Mary's Church, the corner of Fletcher Street and North Road. We're building a new base there. I have spent thousands of dollars through the planning board and the conservation board and the zoning board and with attorneys, and now I'm going for my permits. We're building a brand-new state-of-the-art base there that is going to house 2 vehicles, a beautiful office, huge technology, cutting edge. I'd like you to see the plans for that. So just this whole thing is happening at a time when I'm going to be spending over 6 figures to outfit that office.
you presently have a contract, am I correct, with the town?
Yes, you approved the contract last year, I believe, Mr. Manager?
Yeah.
And how long is that contract in
It's
place?
a 3-year contract. I think we have a year and a half left on it, or maybe 2 years left on it. And it does have, however, at your discretion, at the town's discretion, it does have 2 one-year extensions attached to it.
Exercised separately?
Yes.
One and then the other?
That's correct.
I think we should be better off going as one, even if as long as we posted the package. He's got,
But,
how many
the
people
o-
would be involved?
Well, Stuart, the only thing about that, anybody else could join us there if we post it, the public, which I understand that that's fine for, maybe John would be comfortable or not comfortable with members of the public joining us as a group there.
But I mean, how many people would be involved, John, from your management staff? I mean, how many,
Many hours if we all go separately.
Well, I don't know.
you know what I'm
That's-
saying? That's.
How long do you expect that you would take for you to make your presentation?
Oh, I would say less than an hour.
Yeah, but how many people would be involved from your management, from the
There'd
different?
be 4 or 5 of us.
I thought it'd be more, that's why.
And how early?
No, I would
could
have
you-
myself
how-
there and 4 or 5 of my business managers
From
there.
your different departments and all that
Yes.
stuff.
How
Yeah, my
early-
clinical.
How early would you be prepared to start in the morning?
In the morning?
Yeah.
Like
If
tomorrow?
we came first thing, no, not tomorrow, but if we came in the morning,
Oh.
what time would be acceptable? You
we
get
change
busy,
shifts around 8
busy
o'clock.
early, and that it's better a little later, or?
I would say around between 9 and 10, it should be fine.
Plan it too well. Getting busy, you know.
And how would we get in touch with you, scheduling?
Um,
Would we
I'll give you my number
work with
right
one of
now.
your people, or you directly?
No,
or-
you'd be directly with me.
All right.
Okay.
So we could have our,
The manager has my number.
okay.
He's got my cell number. He's got everything. Michael has my cell number.
And you have the fire chief and the police chief there at the same time as well?
I would think you would probably want them there, but that's up to you.
I thought you had mentioned that. I think it's a good
Yeah, I
idea.
did.
I mean, because.
I did,
And,
but I
Mike-
assumed you would want them
Mike, would you
there.
like to visit as well?
Sure.
Yes. Mike McCall, Assistant Town Manager, would like to. No problem in him visiting as well?
Absolutely not. Nope.
Right, great. We'll be in touch.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Right.
Any other public input tonight? All right. We have quite a few committee vacancies. Would you like to read the list, Emily?
I would be happy to. Committee vacancies as of 6/25/2018. The Center Village Master Plan Implementation Committee has one-year term ending next year. The Civic Committee has one unexpired 3-year term ending 6/30/2019. One unexpired 3-year term ending 6/30/2020, and 2 3-year terms ending 6/30/2021. So that's 4 on the Civic Committee. The Community Action Program Committee has 2 one-year terms ending next year. The Council on Aging has 4 associate member positions, 3-year terms ending 6/30/2021. The Cultural Council has up to 21 total members with 3-year terms ending 6/30/2021. The Energy Conservation Committee has 2 unexpired 3-year terms ending 6/30/2019. The Historic District Commission has 1 alternate member position. It's a 3-year term ending in 2021. The Holiday Decorating Committee has 3 one-year terms ending this December 31st, 2018. The Military Community Covenant Task Force has 1 unexpired 3-year term ending next year. The Parade Committee, all applicants welcome, 1-year terms ending next July. The planning board has one associate member position. Now, that's the one we just filled, right?
Yes.
Okay, so on the spot update. Public Celebrations Committee has 5 one-year terms ending next year. The Recycling Committee has 1 one-year term ending next year. The Roberts Field Advisory Committee has 1 one-year term ending next year. And the Sign Advisory Committee has 2 3-year terms ending 6/30/2020.
Thank you.
There's some on the next page.
My apologies. We also have the Skate Park Committee. Can people from neighboring towns who still skate, like adults who know how to skateboard and who can make sure the parks are safe, join that, just as an aside?
Sure, we'll bring.
Because I keep seeing this, and I know adult skateboard enthusiasts who could help make them safe for our kids. All right, I'll let them know. So the skate park has 2 one-year terms ending next year. Vinyl Square Strategic Action Plan Committee has 2 one-year terms ending next year. If you are interested in serving on a town board or committee, please apply on the town website or contact the town manager's office.
Thank you. George, you gonna oil up your skates?
Yeah. I have a hard time on a sled.
Thank you. All right, we have a number of public hearings tonight. First is Peter Restaurant. Is anyone here from Peter tonight? An alteration of the premises, all alcoholic beverage restaurant license for Peter. Just
Hello there.
tell us your name and location, if you would.
Sure. My name's Sophia Tanakis, and I'm here with my business partner, Dan Lyons, and cousin. And we're from Pita Restaurant on 18 Boston Road in Chelmsford Center, just right down the street. And we are applying for alteration of premises, basically for outdoor seating. We're just a small family restaurant, a Greek restaurant, looking to just have some seats outdoors, but because we have an existing liquor license, we are here now applying for the alteration of premises to add the seats.
I noticed they have an extensive package. It's been reviewed by everyone in town who needs to. You find any problems with any of that, Paul? They've met all the requirements? Anyone have any questions? All right, being none, does anyone have a motion?
I motion to accept the modification.
We have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Being none, do we have a vote?
Just, this
Yes,
is a
Beck.
public hearing, so.
All right, very good.
Almost forget about
Close
that.
it first.
So does anyone from the public wish to weigh in on the subject tonight? No? All right, there being none. All those in favor? Aye.
Your food is very good.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
We
I second
appreciate
that. I've eaten there.
it.
My
Excellent.
granddaughter loves your lemon soup.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate that.
Excellent. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
We
Thank
do
you.
have the abutter notification receipt.
You
You
can
guys
drop
want
those right here.
Excellent.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Get the key rose on.
All right, second, we have the continuation of the Class 2 auto dealer hearing. Capital Motor Group, is someone here tonight
We
from
need a
them?
motion to continue that to July 23rd at the
July
applicant's
23rd?
request, yeah.
Do I need a motion?
Yeah, need a motion.
Motion to continue that till July 23rd?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. And we have a number of licenses tonight. First is the Murray Family Charitable Foundation. Is anyone here tonight? This is for a one-day beer and wine license for Peter.
Yes, how you doing?
Pisa, for the Murray Family Charitable Foundation.
Yes, thank
Would
you.
you identify yourselves?
Peter DePisa.
Eric Murray.
And could you tell us a little about this, your request?
So it's a summer concert at my house. It's to raise money for autism. It's being hosted by Donnie Wahlberg and Jenny McCarthy. I have some of my celebrity friends coming, the Bruins, a couple other people. We're just going to have beer and wine. And everyone's invited except for Mr. Dixon.
He can't dance.
Everyone's got his picture at the, all the security got his picture at the door. No, he can't come in.
That's good.
But on a serious note, you're all on the guest list, every selectman, +1. If, George, if you want to bring your wife and your girlfriend, I'll put +3.
So is this by invitation only?
No, it's open to the public. It's to raise money, so it's $150 a ticket, and it's $500 a ticket for the VIP tent.
And how would they get in touch with someone if they wanted to attend?
Oh, so it's a website, autismsummerfest.org.
Okay.
Yep.
And they've filled out all the necessary paperwork,
Yes.
Paul?
Yeah, and the police and fire have approved a block party permit for this event as well, so that's all been reviewed by police and fire.
Very good. And this is going to be on July 7th?
July 7th, yep.
Very good. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you very much.
4-0.
I'd like to just thank the town of Chelmsford. You guys have been unbelievable, especially Lieutenant Hannigan. He's really embraced this event, and he knows it's for a good cause. And it should be a fun night, and I hope you all can come.
Do you
Except for
look
Mr.
forward to
Dixon.
this being more of an annual event of some type?
We hope so. We're going to see. As long as they don't wreck my house, I would say yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for all your help. Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Next, we have Holiday Inn Express. Anyone here from them tonight? This is for a common victualler license for Ronnet Hospitality, LLC, DBA Holiday Inn Express, and Independence Drive.
Yes, my name's Katie Blake. I'm with the Holiday Inn Express and applying for the common vic, exactly, for our breakfast room. So I submitted all the paperwork. I don't know if you have any questions or.
Is this new?
So it is a conversion. So it's opening as 8 Independence Drive, but the building was previously the Radisson Hotel and Suites. And we're set to open within the next week or so, hopefully.
This was after your huge renovation?
Yes, the renovation is almost
different
completed.
hotels.
It looks great. We're really excited.
So it's 2 separate hotels
Yes.
in the same kind of footprint?
Yes, within the parking lot, but now the connector's not there, so it's operating as its own.
All right. Is it different owners for the two of them, or the same owner with operating under 2 different units?
Yes, same owner, 2 different flags with the independent with the brands.
Franchises?
Exactly.
All right. And we have a motion.
Motion to accept?
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Thank you.
right,
4-0.
Thank you.
Now we have the Best Western. Common victual license, Herna Hotel LLC, DBA Best Western, plus Chelmsford Inn.
Yes, I'm Brian Burke. I'm here for the Best Western plus, Best Western plus Chelmsford Inn to get the common vic license.
And this is beside Moonstones?
Yes, sir, right behind it.
And you've renovated as well.
Yes, sir, including the breakfast area that we're looking to license for.
All right.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
4-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You have a good, pleasant day.
You too.
All right, then we have a local initiative for the project agreement for proposed rental housing units at 104 Turnpike Road. And just identify yourself.
Sure. Good evening, members of the board. For the record, my name is Attorney Melissa Robbins. I'm from the law firm of DeShane and Farrell. I'm here tonight representing Kinlock Investments, LLC. Before you is a local action application. The board may be wondering why you're seeing this. I think it is the first of your kind in the town, which is a great accomplishment. Under the BAOD and your CEIOD regulations, the 168 units of rental apartments was created. All of those units will be counted towards your subsidized housing inventory. Unlike a 40B, however, in order to get these units created, the town must actually apply for a local action application, and that happens after the special permit is created. So we've now received the special permit. We have gone through the local action application. I think you can see from the application that Mr. Haverty has reviewed it. The lottery agent for this is the Chelmsford Housing Authority. I think you can see on the tabs that they've already reviewed and approved the monitoring agreement. Excuse me. And I'm happy to answer any questions the board may have about the procedure, but what will happen now is this application will be signed in triplicate. Mr. Guthrie, on behalf of Kinlock Investments, will also sign this application, and it will go to the Department of Housing and Community Development. They will really look at the application, make sure the special permit is intact, look at our lottery plan, and then once approved, these units will be counted on your inventory. Of these 168 units, 35 are actually priced to affordable families earning 50% or less of the area median income, which is truly affordable. As the board may know, usually these units are priced at 80% of the area median income. So this is really going to a population in need. And I think in the applications it states that the one-bedroom units for about $1,055, and the two-bedroom units are renting for about $1,155. And if the board has any other questions, I'm happy to answer any of them.
And those will be awarded by the Housing Authority on a lottery basis?
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
Where will that bring us, Paul?
That'll get us to 10%.
Yep.
We have to sign off on that. Is that, comes back to us as a separate document eventually?
Yes, exactly. What happens is this is submitted, and then DHCD will update the town's qualified affordable housing supply, and then we'll also be in compliance, with the 10% state goal, which then gives the town the ability to manage any future requests that come in without threat of appeal to the housing.
So it's quite a milestone for the town.
Yes, it's one that many thought we'd never reach. Until a few years ago, if we remember.
5 years ago.
George remembers that, being on the committee.
All right, so we have a motion.
Motion to accept this application.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
4-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So the only signature I need is actually the chairman, and I think Mr. Cohen has the documents. So at your convenience, if you could sign them, I'll have somebody pick them up. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First thing in the morning.
Okay, thank you.
We have a report and presentation from Mr. Souza tonight.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm pleased to report that last Tuesday we had a successful auction of just over $3.6 million of town of Chelmsford municipal bonds. We received bids from 5 firms, and the low bidder was Robert W. Baird and Company with a total interest cost of 2.292%. Just about 1 week earlier, on June 13th, I'm pleased to report that Standard & Poor's looked at our credit rating once again, and I'm pleased to say that they reaffirmed our bond rating at AA+ with a stable outlook, as they have done in the past. The bond proceeds will be used to finance three projects. $3.1 million for our FY19 capital improvement plan, $450,000 for the improvements that you're familiar with at Roberts Field, which is funded through the Community Preservation Fund, and then finally just over $101,000, which represents a small portion of the cost to acquire the forum from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. As they've done in the past, Bond Counsel has prepared a very detailed and lengthy motion. You should have a copy. If you do not have one, I'd be glad to provide some to the board. And respectfully, I'd ask the board to approve the motion as written and award the sale of the bonds to the low bidder, Robert W. Baird.
How does that 2.29 compare to recent?
It's a pretty favorable rate, I will say, with interest rates ticking up in the marketplace. It's probably a good 0.75 to 1% more than probably a year ago, but that's just a function of interest rates going up. So, but it's a very favorable rate, and I think it reflects the bond rating that we have, which, if folks may not be familiar with Standard & Poor's rating, the AA+ that we have is just one notch below the absolute best grade you can get, which is AAA, and that's...
And you need us to sign all the applicable documents.
Yes, please. I know that's a a large stack of documents, but I appreciate it that, and we just need a majority of the board to sign that, so I know that would be great.
Do we need an approval of that?
Yeah, you need to approve that motion as presented.
Would
And
you make a motion?
I make a motion to approve this bond auction.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. While you're up there, John,
Yes.
can you just comment, we also had a sort of a bid opening for the famous 101 Mill Road. How did that go?
Actually, the town manager's office may have more of the specifics, but my understanding is unfortunately that no proposals were received for that, so. I know the assistant town manager's been a little more involved in that than I have. I defer to Michael.
Maybe you could talk a little bit about it, Mike?
If I may, Mr. Chairman, we did advertise as we normally would in the Central Registrar as well as our webpage, posted it here, sent it out to local newspapers. I did send out some unsolicited emails to local developers. We only had one interested party. Actually, two people came to the pre-bid opening to ask questions, and those folks went over to the property with me for one of the viewings, but we had two other viewings and no one showed up to those, and we didn't receive any bids.
Any feedback on why?
No. The only one that seemed interested, I was planning to reach out to that individual. I haven't made contact with them yet.
And did we have any minimum bid, or was it just
No, we
anything?
just put it straight out, no minimum bid.
So are we going to do it again in the fall, after summer's over? Is that what we plan to do?
After Labor Day, that would be the plan.
And are we going to, should we be looking at the restriction? Any feeling that, we seem to have really not made it very difficult.
And we also had a for sale sign out, which in the past has attracted some attention. We do get occasional calls. I would say almost 24 people downloaded the package to take a look at it, but I didn't have any other inquiries. No email questions, a couple of telephone calls, and the woman, Miss Pally, who's interested in having it become an inn, she did inquire, and she did send me a follow-up email after bidding closed, just hoping that there'll be a second chance down the road, because she's still trying to work towards getting some financial backers.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
All right, so we have town manager reports now.
Yeah, just quickly, Mr. Chairman, just 3 items this evening. One, first was on the Katrina Road Brownfields redevelopment project. Since the board's last meeting, the planning board has approved the site plan and special permits for that site. So at this point, we are scheduling a closing that should be completed prior to the board's next meeting. Next item is the Merrimack Riverbank Stabilization Project. And I'm pleased to inform the board that that project is now out to bid. Bids are due on Wednesday, July 18th at 10 a.m. So again, I expect to have an update to the board at your next meeting. And finally, as is required under the provisions of the town charter and bylaws, I annually, at this time of the year, have to provide the board with a list of qualified officers who can perform the duties of the town manager during my temporary absence or disability, and this list remains unchanged from the current fiscal year. The Assistant Town Manager Michael McCall, Public Works Director Gary Persichetti, and Finance Director John Souza would designate that. And what that provides for under the charter is that that person would serve for 30 days. Anything beyond 30 days, the Board of Selectmen decides under the charter. And then either Mike or Gary Persichetti can, in my temporary absence, sign payroll and vendor warrants. Obviously, John Souza would not do that since he's the treasurer. He can't sign his own treasury warrant.
So is there a preference list? In other words, as
No.
it's listed up there? Or
No,
do we decide among the three?
No, I decide for 30 days
Decide.
or less. After 30 days, you decide of anybody. It's your choice, yeah.
That's his first choice.
Yeah, so basically, it's sort of a short-term absence, and then long-term, beyond 30 days, under the charter, the board would decide who would serve as
So
temporary
you
town.
can choose any of the three?
Right, yeah.
Well, there's no prescribed list right now of
Right.
who's first, who's second, who's
No,
third?
no.
Based on
Yeah,
what things are going on at the time?
I think the expectation would be, and reality would be, barring the extraordinary, would be the assistant town manager.
That would make
But if there were
sense.
extraordinary circumstances, then I have 2 other individuals who would be available.
All right, thank you.
Paul, just
Yeah.
getting back to the riverbank
Yes.
stabilization thing.
Yeah.
What was the money? It was a 2.5, is it a $2.5 million grant?
Yeah, and we think, that's why we're curious to see the bid result in discussions. A number of years has transpired since
Right.
the project was
Right.
estimated. Exactly, so what has occurred in these situations is the, Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency and the Federal Emergency Management Agency go back and obtain supplemental funding to complete the project as requested. So this is not an uncommon occurrence. But what we have to do now is determine the vendor and the cost, and then what would happen is final design and funding and allocations would take place over the next several months, and you're probably talking at a 2019 construction commencement.
So hypothetically speaking,
Yep.
say the bid came in at $4 million.
Yeah.
They get $2.5 million from the original.
Yep.
And then the supplemental would be come
Right.
from the state. Would the town have to apply for that?
We would work in concert with them, but the town would not
Similar to
contribute.
like Mass Works or
Right,
something like that?
exactly.
Let me just
Yeah.
see if I understand that. What George said was, if it comes back as 4 million.
Yeah.
And the grant is for 2.5 million.
Yeah,
That would mean that it's $1.5 million short.
right.
Where would the $1.5 million be made up?
My understanding is the $1.5 million will be made up entirely by the federal government, that they would not seek to go back to the residents to prorate that increase.
Right, and the residents had already put
Made a
in 1
commitment.
million.
Exactly, right.
Is that part of the 2.5?
Yes.
Okay.
So my understanding is there will not be a supplemental request to the residents.
And we would have to approve that bid award.
Yes,
And since I live there, I would assume I would
you would
excuse
abstain,
myself.
right, exactly.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Pat, you have a question?
Yeah, on a totally different topic. so-
Sure.
Sure.
Okay. I heard on the news today that the federal government is awarding remediation funds for the March storms.
Right.
Have you heard anything about that, and are we
Yes,
eligible?
the one that was awarded today was for the March 2nd and 3rd storm. That was for 5 counties in Massachusetts. It does not include Middlesex or Worcester or other counties. That was the coastal storm that hit significant damage along Plymouth County up until Essex County. The subsequent storm is still being reviewed for consideration. That's the one that we're expecting a determination on. So perhaps by our next meeting, we'll have a determination on the one that we're seeking funding for reimbursement. You may recall there were 3 significant snowstorms in a narrow period. One was denied, which is the second one. The first one has been approved, and we're hopeful that the final one, which was the heaviest one for us, will be approved. But there's been no determination made as of this time.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Next is appointments. We have a large list of additional appointments. We can do that in mass.
Yes, right. This is just a list of reappointment of existing members who have chosen to remain on the respective committees. And those who have not, we have added to the list that Emily read earlier. And then the new people are listed separately on the agenda. So this is basically a continuation of those who are wishing to continue to serve. So you can approve it in mass. That's
Right?
Motion to approve this list en masse.
Do we have a
Second.
second? Any discussion? Being none? All in favor? Aye. 4-0.
And then I'm seeking the board's confirmation for new appointments to the Roberts Field Advisory Committee, Justin Whitehouse, for a 1-year term expiring June 30th, 2019. To the Vinyl Square Strategic Action Plan Committee, Joseph Turney, for a 1-year term expiring June 30th, 2019. Mr. Turney would also seek his confirmation for appointment to the North Town Hall Advisory Committee for a same 1-year term, 6/30/2019. And then to the Recycling Committee, Kevin Gossilla, for a 1-year term expiring June 30th, 2019.
Do we have a motion for all of them?
Motion to approve all 3?
Do we have a second?
Second.
Those in favor? Aye. 4-0.
Thank you for your applications. It's nice to have spots filled.
And we're always looking for people for the citizen group,
Civic committee.
which I'm the liaison for. All right, town manager and town account performance appraisal preparation. We have, by the new rules, we have a new form that we're not using this year, but we will be using in the future. It has been revised to include everything that's been brought forward. It's prefaced by a general statement concerning why we're doing it and how we're going to do it, which I didn't have any problems with. Did anyone have any problems with the preface at all? No? And then it goes into the actual rating form itself, which is number-based, very much unlike the form that we have now, which is more just narrative, and it seems to be more favorable, although we are abiding by the new rules and that we will discuss our individual assessments at our next meeting, but the new form will be used next year. Does anyone have any questions concerning the new form? None? Pat? No? All right. So do we have a motion?
Motion to
Accept.
accept the new form going forward.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0.
Can we acknowledge in absentia, I don't know if Ken is watching, but he put a lot of work into that new form, a lot of research and a lot of time, and so I just want to acknowledge all of the time that Ken put into that form, which I think, coming from an educational background and having hundreds of pages of forms to fill out, I think this one is really good. I think it has a good list of clear goals, and it's easy to use in terms of evaluation forms. So I appreciate all the work that went into this.
Yeah, I second that. It was a lot of work. Ken went out and took an idea and made it his own and came back, and we all participated in it. He's in Florida on vacation this week, so he's probably up on a roller coaster somewhere, and hopefully he will be back soon and in one piece, and we look forward to him being at our next meeting. All right, next we have the Board of Selectmen and Town Manager goals. And this is a revised list from our previous meeting. Does anyone have any comments on it? I have. If anyone minds, I go first. Anyone want to go first? Or let me go first? All right, first of all, number 3, the town manager will pursue the sale and/or development of the Katrina roadside. I think we have done that virtually now.
Still almost done it.
Just
99 and
Yeah, we're on the
9/10.
1 yard line, yeah.
Let's take a chance and strike it.
Okay.
All right, does that make sense?
Sure.
I hope you're not jinxing it.
Yeah, right? Knock
All
on
right.
wood.
All right.
And with the next one.
Of course, I would have bet that 101 Mill Road would have sold by now, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
that goes on. All right, the second one, and the only other one I have is number 9. And we have talked considerably about this. John Shumley was here earlier addressing one of the 3 parts. And I'm wondering, the more I think about it, and I don't know if you've thought about it as well, that perhaps these 3 are not so interlinked that they really need to be done as a threesome. And also the fact that it may be that before we set up a committee to study this, we really need to set it up as a warrant item to request money from town meeting, because why have a committee if there's no money to get a hold of some of the expertise that we need to decide this? So, the one that I thought really doesn't fit in here, and in which we can decide on our own based on having some public input sections and maybe bring in some experts, is the regional public safety dispatch. That it could be a separate issue. I know we voted on it, or the board at the time, about 4 years ago, I think it is, voted on it narrowly 3-2, and I think it deserves attention again. The project, I believe, is moving forward, although they haven't started yet in Tewksbury. There's a couple of members, there's a couple of openings for members to join. I think that the technology may be changing. I just read this past week that one of the new technologies is that they found that most people who call 911 call it on their cell phone, and there's new technology out there that instantly identifies by GPS exactly where you are, so there's no mistaking that you're going to the wrong place, or someone is dispatched to the wrong place. So I think it should be discussed separately, and wondering what the board's feelings on that.
I spent a lot of time looking at these issues. I made a lot of phone calls to experts, to billing companies, to consulting firms to find out exactly what consultants do. I can publish documentation if the public is interested. But I think that the regional public safety dispatch does seem to be an issue apart from the fire station and emergency ambulance service, which are very closely linked and I believe require the benefit of a consultant who is an expert in looking at all of the pieces that go with that and the transition to fire department-based emergency ambulance service. So I think that the safety dispatch, it was looked at a few years ago. We've gotten technology upgrades, and I do think that that's a much smaller chunk to work on amongst ourselves without the.
George, you were the only one on the present board who was there for that vote. How do you feel about this?
Well, you mean about these three things?
Dispatch only.
Dispatch specifically.
Dispatch, I don't know, I'd have to see the new changes, the new technology, and and go on the recommendations of the the fire chief, the police chief, and they may have changed now. We did get all our communication that I was concerned about. If we joined at that time and it failed, we had nothing to come back. Since then, we've invested about, what, $600,000 in
Pat, Pat, you're involved in NEMCOG. Mm-hmm. Is there someone at the state level who knows this whole regionalization, why it came about, the benefits of it and so forth, who might come to speak with us? Someone could be found to do that?
Office of Emergency
Either from the
Management
state level
Services.
or we could get somebody from NEMCOG itself. I mean, we were at NEMCOG heavily involved in the study that was done. And there is in our packet tonight a letter from the executive director from NEMCOG basically saying, it's getting close to that time. The two communities, Drake and Tewksbury, are actively involved in going forward. If we were to get in at this level in a not too distant future, we could be very much involved in setting up the policies and procedures, how the people are paid, how they're, who pays the retirement, how they're hired, things like that. And so many people will tell you, too, that it's not a question of if we'll have to join a regional call center at some point. It's a matter of when. A lot of the funds from the state are going to regional 911 centers now rather than individual communities. So I think it really benefits us to consider this very carefully at this point. The expectation is there'll be a groundbreaking later this fall, or actually later this summer, and a ribbon cutting no later than next fall to open that new facility. It'll be in Tewksbury. I've been involved with the, helping to move forward the feasibility study, and I think it would be a great move for the
All right.
town to join.
I have scheduled, Paul, we have one meeting in August and two in September.
Yes.
All right, so would it make sense that, and I'm asking the board, that we list it as an agenda item at our next meeting for an initial discussion, that if anyone has any documentation that they might share with the rest of the board, that they send it along to everyone, and that since you have familiarity, obviously, with NEMCOG, that maybe you could invite someone in, either that
Absolutely.
meeting or the following one. I think though all three meetings, we should have it as an agenda item. We would vote on the second meeting in September, that we would invite the public in to talk at any of those meetings, and hopefully come up with a decision by that time.
Okay.
Does the board seem to endorse that? Do I have a motion?
Motion to put the regional public safety dispatch issue on our next meeting and discuss that as a separate issue.
And vote in the second meeting in
And vote
September?
in the second meeting in September on
Right.
whether or not to
I wouldn't second I won't second the second part of that, about voting, making a vote so quickly. I mean, I think we should discuss it, and then, you know, if, I have no problem with voting if everybody really understands it, or if everything is in place. But, I mean, is everything gonna be ready for then, Pat?
I think they would welcome us at today.
Yeah,
A vote today.
I understand they would welcome
The key is
this, but-
getting in now so that we can set the policies. So if you're concerned about policies that would benefit Chelmsford specifically, because if I remember correctly, this was one of my first town meetings, and people were concerned that Chelmsford is such a unique, special place that a regional dispatch would not know how to handle it. And so if that is still a concern, then getting in now and handling it now, that would clear up all of those issues. We could really influence how it's run and make sure it's done right.
Well, then, why can't we just make a motion to discuss it at the next one, and if we want to go further, we can put it on the agenda for the next one to vote on it.
Well, I think it's fairer to the public to have some sort of deadline on it and invite them in. They have 3 opportunities to come in. I know that, many times in many of the committees, for example, in the charter review, that their chairman made every effort possible to invite people to come in and comment, and virtually nobody came in. I think that this is a topic perhaps closer to people's hearts. We certainly would want to have the fire chief in, we would want to have the police chief in to comment on it. Probably a representative from the dispatch existing team, and that they should know what our intentions are so that they can not miss the goal. So I think that's more than enough time. We're talking about 2 months from now to voting on it, because of the summer month and so forth.
Well, I think it's more than enough time, but kind of in the consideration of George's feelings about that. I mean, do we have to have in the motion that we would vote on it in that 3rd meeting? I mean, maybe something might come up that we would want to put it off another meeting, or maybe we'd find.
Are we held to that ironclad?
Well, if we put it in a motion, I believe we would.
How do you feel the motion should be made?
Just, I don't even know that we need a motion. I think, you as the chairman can put it on the agenda for our next meeting for discussion. That would be, and just make sure that we make it, inform the public that we are going to be discussing it over at least our next 2 or 3 meetings.
Well, I just always feel that a motion doesn't hurt. Displays exactly what we're going to do so the public knows about it. And is that needed, not needed, Paul? How do you feel about that?
I think it's helpful because people may not realize that this was coming to a vote. That's often what we hear. What I will do is I will notify the chiefs as well as the dispatchers union president tomorrow. Let them know that the board will be discussing this at the upcoming meetings in July and August, with the expectation that a vote will take place in September.
And just leave it as may.
Yeah.
And I think that gets people, I think the deadline is important because it makes people who want to get involved, and it's not this vague notion of some point in the future. The other thing is that if a serious issue really does come up, we can always rescind our motion to vote on it, or, it's okay to say we appear to have made a mistake and are fixing that mistake. That's a mark of maturity and intelligence, and I think that we can handle that. And I also think it's really to put the attention and weight on this issue that it deserves and to indicate the seriousness of it. I do think it's worth putting a timeline on it.
See, I wouldn't put a timeline up for that, exactly the same reason, that I would like to see all the information, how it affects everybody involved. And I don't, it could be beautiful, it could be great for the town, it could be great for the people. I don't really know, but I'd like to see all the facts. So I don't think
You're
there's
gonna
any
have
reason
2
whether we
months.
do it in.
So it
we
sounds
put
like
off
we
what's the-
have 2
what's-
motions that are virtually similar. The only difference is, in one case, we're saying that there's a deadline of when we're going to vote on it, and in the other case, there's no deadline. So why don't we make...
And it could be the same. It could be the same. We could vote the same. I mean, we may have enough information and everybody may be content at that particular time. Ken isn't here to give his 2 cents right now either, so.
Well, that's true. So perhaps the best thing to do is, as Paul said, that our intention is to vote on it at our second meeting in September, but just as it's our intention. And when Ken comes back, he may weigh in on it and have his views and may dissuade exactly how we laid it out. Does that make more sense?
Sounds
So, do you want to make that motion?
I motion to put it on our agenda item for the next meeting with the intent of taking it seriously and saying
Perhaps
if we
voting on
can
the second
reach a vote
Second
in September.
meeting- second
Yes,
meeting
in
of
the
it.
yes.
All those in favor?
A second.
Second?
I'll second.
All right, those in favor?
Aye.
Against?
I'm abstaining.
3 yes, 1 abstention. All right, so that should be a goal, because it's still out there. Then we have the other two categories, emergency ambulance service, which John Chumley came and spoke to us tonight about, and consolidation of the fire stations, which are more linked together, and are going to require professionals from the town and probably consultant professional from outside the town. And if we're going to do that, we have to get money from town meeting to authorize that. The question has become, which is first, the chicken or the egg? Should we have a committee formed to come up and ask for the money and figure out how much money we need and so forth? Or if they turn it down, well, what's the committee there for? Really nothing, and that they need the money first. So
We know how much money it is because we've got a preliminary RFP from one of the consulting firms, and they gave me the same number over the phone as the other two that I was in contact with. So we have a ballpark figure. That's something we can release right now if we wanted.
So my feeling is that we continue it as a goal of the board, but that we ask for the money first, that the board creates a warrant item requesting X amount of money at the fall town meeting, and that at the same time, we make it part that with the money, we'll be also forming a committee to study it of professionals in the town. We may put in the warrant, we try not to make warrants too wordy because it gets confusing, but perhaps some idea of who might be involved from the town. And if the money is voted, then we create the committee, but it will take them a considerable amount of time to do this study. I would think at least a year. Would that make sense, Pat? Fiscal year?
Probably, well, how long
I
did
don't
the
think
last
it's
one
going to take a
It was-
year.
It was a good amount of time.
It was a fair amount of time, but that,
Because there's a lot of
Probably
stakeholders
was
in
a
this,
year.
and I'm sure the town will be watching, town residents are going to be watching it closely.
And that was just for the fire station one. The ambulance one took close to a year also, if I recall correctly.
took a while.
I think that the most important one is the one in the middle. Consolidation of fire stations. I think
Which is not a foregone conclusion. That's why we need the consultant.
we need to figure out how many we're gonna have, because then we know what we have for manpower, how we utilize what we have now, how much more manpower we need.
Manpower is based on population and call volume. It's not based on number of stations.
It's based on, I'm going under the assumption, I'm going under the premise that manpower is based on the number of stations.
It's
and we-
not.
And we need, well, let me ask you a question. If you have 5 stations, how many people are we gonna have on a shift?
The question is how many people will be able to respond safely to a fire. And so it's based on call volume and population. It is not based on number of stations. If we added 3 stations, we would just have one person on each truck instead of, so the safety goals, the safety requirements, as I understand them, are you need a certain number of people per truck to man it safely. And if you have a building fire, I believe the number is 15 within, I want to say 9 minutes. I might not have all my facts, but it's a certain number within.
Inside 5 minutes, but I'm not.
Right, but it's 15 within 9, and it's the full complement. And so the number is not based on stations. If you add in 10 more stations, you may not end up with 50 more people. So it's based on population. So if we go down to 3, what we would be saving is on building maintenance, not on manpower. So as my understanding is this is what, and it may not be that we can go down to 4 or 3. That would depend on what the consulting firm who does this.
I think we're getting too involved.
Yeah, we're getting into the weeds.
Okay.
We're confusing minimum manning with station consolidation.
And that's not,
I
they're
mean,
not,
there
they're
are,
not.
With
there
the
are,
ambulance.
there are a
Well,
lot of
it does-
issues to be had.
Right.
You know, you have a situation where in the last union negotiation, it was dictated that we add another man to one of the vehicles in one of the stations.
Right.
What's the probability that that's going to come back and say the same thing again next year? That, you know, I would think that one of the people on this committee has to be someone from the financial end of the town who understands what the town can afford or not afford, or someone from the finance committee that's a watchdog of that. So there's a lot of issues here. It's going to take time, but it starts with, we need money to hire an expert to kind of lead this. The committee will set the agenda and all the issues that they want to address, but I think it really needs to start with the money, and I would be reluctant to form a committee ahead of time if the money wasn't there, because we don't have the expertise on our own. There are too many special interest groups that would be trying to bulldoze their way through it.
And I want to avoid
I
special
think we need to
interest
just
groups. I
not-
want the outside consultant to avoid the influence of special interest groups and special interests. I think that there is a way to do this fairly and above board, and I want to avoid, I mean, anything, I want it public, I want it open, and I want it with impeccable sources and impeccable research. The agenda has to be clear.
How do you feel about it, Pat?
Well, I definitely think that we don't have that expertise on this board to come up with those
We're trying to solve it
decisions.
now. Forget
Okay,
it,
we
we're not
can't-
even
we
close.
can't. No, we can't. That's absolutely true. Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with that process that you just described, is to try to get some money to hire a consultant and then give them sufficient time. You know, we don't want to set a hard deadline 6 months after town meeting or something like that, an unreasonable one. Give
Oh,
them
yeah,
time to
they
come
need
up with
that, in the past, it's taken a considerable amount of time.
It has, yes.
And it will, you know, that any kind of decision won't be with this board, it'll be probably with the next board, unless we're all here again next year.
Mhm.
So, do I have a motion?
Motion to, all right, so, motion to create a warrant to ask town meeting for funding for a consultant that will help a committee
that will
decide the
form.
best way forward.
Second.
Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yes, George?
Yeah.
He raised his
4-0.
hand.
And just adding something, since Emily has done the most hard work lifting on this, I would suggest that she write the first draft of the warrant. When would she have to have it to you, Paul?
You are scheduled to sign the warrant your first meeting in September, which I believe is the 12th. And so we really would, if you could get us a draft, I mean, ideally at our July meeting, but certainly by our August meeting.
It's actually the 9th.
I can do that.
Yeah. So that, because the town council has to review the warrant prior to it, the board signing it the first Monday in September.
So would
which
the
is-
process be best if I go to the town council before
10th, I'm
bringing
sorry.
the warrant to the
No.
board so that there is less time wasted with the
Right,
board?
or yes, you can draft an article, and as I said, the board will see a draft of the warrant at your August meeting, and then on September 10th, you will sign the warrant. So yes, the answer is yes. Paul Haverty should review it prior to your August meeting,
Okay, I can do it.
which is scheduled
Do you
for
want
the
it in
13th.
July if I can do it?
Yeah,
if
sure.
I can pull it together?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, it's not that.
All right.
Not that time.
It's not that, yeah.
All right, we have selectmen liaison reports and referrals. Pat, we'll start with you.
Okay, thank you. Just a couple of things. First of all, our latest Eagle Scout is Jack Fox. He earned his Eagle Scout ranking a couple of weeks ago, so congratulations to Jack Fox. Earlier this evening under one of our public service announcements, Paul mentioned about the Mass DOT public hearing for River Neck Road and, no, is it River Neck? Yeah, River Neck Road
River
and
Neck and Borica,
129. But just so everybody knows, there is going to be work beginning on, and you may have seen some activity out there on on North Road, the bridge over 495. Work will begin in earnest there in the very near future, with the expectation that that construction, to reconstruct that bridge and put a traffic signal coming off Route 495 at that location, will beginning, you'll notice it very soon. It'll go through 2 construction seasons with the expectation to be completed late spring, early summer in 2020. So just so people are aware of that. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody on the 4th of July activities. That's all I have.
George?
Oh, I just like to wish everybody a happy 4th of July. That's good.
Emily?
Same, happy 4th of July.
Right, I attended the 2 meetings of the classification committee. They started their process. They have come up with a mission statement, kind of short, simple. They're backing that up with a list of objectives. And they have decided to have a very aggressive meeting schedule. They are meeting the 4th of July week. They are meeting on all the alternate days that are available to them, because we're meeting only once in July and August, and they're going to avail themselves of those extra days. They seem to be focused and have begun in earnest, and I expect that they will do a great, diligent job on it.
And as you know, I did miss that second meeting. Hopefully I won't miss another one.
And just to repeat what was said earlier, we hope to see everyone out at Friendship Park. It's going to be, I think, a great opening. My 4-year-old has already decided she's going to critique all of the venues that are out there. And again, I hope that everyone in town comes out, and look forward to seeing all those little squirters on the 4th of July lining the streets. And for sure, it's going to be a great parade again this year. Any other things anyone bring up? No? All right. Are there any press questions tonight? Our next regular scheduled meeting is July 23rd, 2018. Ken is expected to be back at that time, and we're going to, I'm sure, have a lively meeting. We're going to be discussing Paul's review and Darlene's review. By the new rules, we have to do it publicly. So we look forward to any of the public sitting in with us. And thank you. And do we have a motion to close?
I motion to close the meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.